Hi, friends. Welcome again to another episode of Beyond the Clouds Edge to Edge Transformation. We got to know each other during the early days of virtual chips, real chips. The whole IP industry was just about starting. Tell us a little bit about you. How did you become the Chitra I know today?
Thank you, Shankar. It has been such a pleasure connecting with you. Great to hear you, Shankar, your journey, and then how things have transformed over the years. One thing that has not changed per se is the excitement and the opportunities that we see around in this field of semiconductors. That's the one that's letting me keep going and moving and put it in your words, trying to reach beyond the clouds and then trying to see how we can see the technology growing and thriving. For some reason, I've been pulled to this electronics and then chip from the time I passed out of college. I landed on electronics and communication literally by chance. Those days, the selection is through the list and everything. I got into electronics and communication. For some reason, I have always been wanting to see things in action. The products used to excite me. So I have always been wanting to do electronics and communication. These days, the opportunities were very less. I come from a very humble background. My parents, we were all in Coimbatore. I am from Government College of Technology. My father is a government servant. My mom is a homemaker. My father said that you should get into professional kind of the degree because that's the one that's going to get you job. And you need to have a job for your living and to take care of the family also. That's all the mindset that we had at that point. Landed upon electronics and communication. And I'm a first bencher. My competitive spirits are very high. That one only made me land upon multiple startups. I have always wanting to be in gaining the first place, be the first bencher, be a goody goody student, that kind of the thing. But I had a lot of passion. After my engineering landed up on the job, those days there were very few jobs where you can land up on public sector jobs or the defense jobs. DRDO used to be one organization who would be recruiting electronics and communication professionals. I landed upon Indian Telephone Industries. Over there, I was put in quality as a department, and then in Bangalore only, I signed up. Understood the language, understood the culture of the people, understood the product, could see the product in action, and then used to take pride with the product that I am attached to. I used to say that this is the product that is kind of tying the whole India as a nation. Those days, we used to be having the dial phones. You do the quality check for those phones, take care of the incoming material qualification. So, one thing that I have always felt is attaching myself towards the product and taking pride towards the product that I build or that I qualify, right? I mean, that I could very clearly see for myself. Then ITI wanted to get into the stream of doing the chip design. ITI had their own foundry. They had a 3 micron foundry up and running in Bangalore. So we used to be designing products for ITI's foundry. And these products used to be getting to our defense applications, nuclear reactor application, and then PSLVs of the world. I used to be part of the design center that would be designing these products. And then I used to come to IT Bangalore and then do the testing. It's not that big cycle that we go through in design these days. Our knowledge goes back to building things from scratch, putting transistors together at the cell level, and then creating the chip that you would be wanting to, right? My husband always used to make fun of me. I've seen you doing tape outs and tape outs all through 37 years. How are you not getting bored? I don't have a very good answer for him, but at least the passion of building the products and being associated with building the products have been making me going. So after doing all the products for the defense and all the India ecosystem, I was so happy to hear the success of Chandrayaan while we were building the chips for PSLV. We used to be waiting for the launch vehicles, kind of the launch time, following everything. Though you build the product, we don't stop at just building the product and then handing it over. Chandrayaan's success, everyone was seeing, whole India was observing. I could remember my old days of the PSLV's multiple vehicles launch and some of the failures also. We used to be thinking like, did my product go far? Where did the problem happen? So after IT, I was with Real Chip, and Real Chip was the company that opened my doors into US semicon ecosystem. I built the entire design team, mostly focused on the physical design. Those days, we were not called as the fabulous ASIC. The term was still getting coined. Real Chip was into the business of building custom silicon products for the semicon ecosystem. I was building the team, going through multiple designs, had great opportunities of working with EDA leaders like Rajiv Madhavan, who would be sitting with you and then qualifying his Magma tool, asking you to provide feedback on them, on what it takes to build a tool which is compelling for the customers. I would be more looking from the design perspective, what this tool can do. He would always be taking my inputs as a customer, what I can do to better this tool and better the performance. So that kind of the customer friendliness and customer interactions, I could really see from leaders from him, and those are the values that I could pick up. Then the typical thing of, I mean, moving from US to India started and everything. I mean, my family was wanting me more of being in India. Then I got to know that the fabless ASIC model is really picking up with multiple people. IBM was doing, TI was doing for Nokia. So while they were doing, I saw Naveed and Satya setting up Intel Microelectronics, wanting to have the fabless ASIC model. Though some portion of Intel's fab or no portion of Intel fab they would use, but still they would want to build a fabless ASIC model for customers like Microsoft. Xbox was one of the chip that I can still remember, Microsoft Xbox chip, and multiple communication chips that we could do for Intel, targeted on TSMC and other foundries. All this journey, what was motivating me, excitement of building the product. Silicon, the mistake is costly. I've started learning the disciplined silicon engineering practices. That has started becoming my Bible to ensure that every silicon that you tape out need to be the first time working silicon. Any of the product, any of the customer, I mean, that's the first thing that they want to hear. My passionate thing would be drive through the checklist and then ensure that the tape out happens perfectly, breathe through quality, breathe through first time working silicon. We had done multiple successful tape outs. Intel wanted all the technologies to be retained, but they were not really wanting to pursue this as a business. So that time, Naveed and Satya and Scott Houghton of Synopsys, they came together and then they set up this company called Open Silicon. And I was the first person to be at Open Silicon who built the engineering team grounds up. I was the founding team member. And 2003 onwards, I mean, we were running Open Silicon. So I had a great ride and great learning at Open Silicon. So 2003 to 2008, I would still call my best part of the professional life, wherein I learned from the best known industry leaders. From Naveed, I learned all the business acumen. From Satya, I learned best of engineering. And Scott, the business tactics, how to interact with the team. All three leaders were complementing each other and then executing to build a successful company. Open Silicon was an extended family for all of us who have been there from day one. We had a team of 7 founding team members. They're all by themselves big leaders today. But all of us together were literally an extended family, did all the tape outs and night outs together, their families and our families, knowing each other so well. Tons of happy moments at Open Silicon. We were the ones who were instrumental for multiple medium size and then small startup successes. The chips would come, we would do the chip tape out. Before even the silicon could see the day of the light, the company would be bought out. I mean, those were the days. So proud to be part of multiple such silicon, building silicon. We used to be making a lot of fun with Naveed and Satya. Instead of taking the NRE cost for the silicon that we build, we need to be taking stocks from those companies so that we all could be making and multiplying the dollar values. Open Silicon was great, starting from getting funded by people like Sequoia and Norwest. We were literally molded by them. People like Pete and people like Pramod Haq, all the boardroom conversations translating into actions by these wonderful leaders, Naveed and Satya, and then making us act on it. There were a good amount of challenges that we needed to go through as well. It was a very, very accomplished feeling that I always get when I think of Open Silicon days, that you could be part of so many successes in individuals' life, in startups' lives, in products' lives, and in terms of the technology also. I have always believed in three superpowers: people, product, and technologies. People in the heart of it, and then what kind of the differentiating product that you build, and what kind of innovative technologies that you want. On all the pillars, like I could contribute to the maximum, I would say. And then the PE acquisition happened. The PE acquisition defines a different trajectory wherein we decided that there were a lot of learnings from Open Silicon, so we need to incorporate them, and then we need to build our own startup. And then you always have the surge of building your own startup. I was the founding member. I wanted to be the founder. I went on building Concept Silicon along with, again, two accomplished individuals who were again part of Open Silicon journey, Ravi Srinivasan and Satya Gupta. And Concept Silicon was the time, I mean, wherein when we came out, we thought that you had such a successful ride at Open Silicon, 45 million to 245 million, and you had a partial exit. So why would not be funded by VC? That was the thing that we had in our head. 2009 was the rock bottom time. But we thought that we would be funded. So we were on our journey to talk to multiple VCs. We approached more than 19 VCs, and they were all happy funding us for the growth fund, not for the seed fund. Then we decided that, okay, we need to put our own money and then build and then incorporate the learnings. So Concept Silicon, there were a lot of learnings that we picked up from Open Silicon that we could not implement in Open Silicon for various reasons. One big learning was in Open Silicon model, NRE cost would be amortized in the silicon volume cost, depending on the volume that you would be hitting. That model worked at Open Silicon. I don't think we could have carried forward because a lot of these models always need correction. So when we did Concept Silicon, we were focusing on NRE and on silicon, both the cost. There is a clear demarcation. In the world of semiconductors, through Concept Silicon, engaging with multiple, we could change the trajectories of building the derivatives. Product companies would always be wanting to focus on derivatives, but they would not be having the right mix of talent, right mix of time and opportunities. So our focus was on building the derivatives on time schedule or ahead of schedule, and then ensure that you again deliver the first time working silicon. So that was one. And then at Concept Silicon, we built the COE for providing the best PPA for some of these embedded cores. I mean, be it on ARM or be it on other cores, Shankar. We came up with the recipe of putting all things together and then ensuring that you have a best PPA that could deliver the best product. And that way the product development cycle gets shortened. So we built one of the best COE for Qualcomm, and then multiple products we were partnering with Qualcomm, and then we were delivering. Concept Silicon was bought out by HCL. While we were at HCL, Intel had awarded us on one of the biggest Pixel phone product development for the HDR IPU based product development. Google's first Pixel phone, the contract was awarded to Intel. Intel wanted us to be part of developing that product, and then we delivered on that also well. My business partner Satya has always been wanting to do the product for India and for the world at large. So we ended up creating an electronic product company. So this was a smart office solution company. It's an IoT-based product company wherein you provide the best automation solution for lighting, all the building automation component, parking and everything. So over there also, we ended up bagging a big differentiated product contract from Intel, and we developed one of the product solution for parking automation solution for Intel, which is still working in India, the Intel India campus with all the great features. So I joined back Intel because product has always been my calling. I was with Intel with the Network and Edge product group. This time I was managing the strategy office for Intel's Network and Edge product group, wherein I was asked to focus on all the three pillars that I spoke about, what you can do and how you can create the differentiating elements in each of these, which would determine the whole BU success, and then that would translate into Intel success. Now, in an interesting journey, I'm very connected with the investment community and the startup community, trying to be the bridge between both and trying to onboard meaningful and purpose driven collaborations for both to see how we will be able to make deep tech investments towards semicon for India and what you can do in this entire ecosystem. The most exciting journey of connecting the investors and the startups to see how I can be the bridge between these two and then make more meaningful, purpose driven investments in deep tech side for India and for the world at large.
Wow, this is so exciting. You're also working with the government and with the standards bodies, VLSI design. Tell us
Very
about
much.
it. What's happening? India seems to be definitely at the center of action in terms of being a viable alternative
Yeah.
to many other countries in not only
Yeah.
designing, but also manufacturing the whole 9 yards, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Shankar. There is so much happening in India. In the last Semicon India, all the leaders and all the ministers, starting from PM, mentioned that this is the right time for all the investments to flow in India. And people are really lining up to make the investments over here. Shankar, the recent investment made by Micron, and there are more to come. We have been hearing about some of these policies being in this ecosystem for long. But the policies that are there currently are so compelling for anyone not to invest in India, is what I would say. The incentives that are being given, be it on the design side and on the production side, it is so compelling, Shankar. There are a lot that we are doing, collaborating with the government. The MeitY is the body which is driving all these things. They reach out to passionate entrepreneurs, industry leaders, and then take the inputs and then ensure that the policy is designed which is so conducive for all the people who are interested in investing. The policy announcement happened in December 2021. And from that time onward, the action that is happening on the ground is so exciting, Shankar. I was fortunate to be a part of the first Semicon India event that happened. I was a part of the lamp lighting ceremony along with the leaders. It was so heartening, such a great feeling to be a part of this one. The only reason being, we all have been waiting for this, and then now it is happening. And then, if you could be part of it, there could be nothing more exciting that you can ask for. This is one of the momentous occasion that I would cherish for my entire life. Shankar. We have Minister Ashwini Vaishnav, and we have Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar, and you have Vinod Dhawan, called as a father of Pentium, and I'm here, and AMD country president Jaya is here, and you have MediaTek, one of the great engineering leader, Ritu Parna is there. I would carry this memory for long, Shankar. And this is just not this. After this event, there has been flurry of things that are happening on the ground, and I was fortunate to be in the second event that is focused more on design as well. This happened in Delhi. You do see some of the people from Micron as well here.
That's amazing. I was such an impatient person, having worked on the Pentium bus functional model, being on for silicon and what you talked about, tape out madness, as
Yes.
we used to call it.
Yes.
But in
Yes.
silicon, bugs are very expensive. Tell me
Yes.
how you were able to find a balanced way of going through hundreds of tape outs without getting burned out.
Shankar, burnout is always there. But the passion to build the product, that was the one that kept me going. All the startups, starting from Intel Microelectronics, we started practicing this disciplined silicon engineering execution practices. And then the cheat sheet and checklists, and these were the ones that we were breathing. We have this best known methods, right? BKMs, we call it. So these were the ones that we were consciously building across all the startups also, and then ensuring that these practices are carried when we onboard the students. We used to be going to colleges for picking some of these brightest minds. though we were part of Open Silicon and Concept to Silicon and other startups, we have always believed in picking up the right talent. So we would always be going to some of these IITs of the world or NITs of the world and bids. We were given a slot. The very reason being, though we were a startup, they know that these were the places wherein the students would maximize on their learnings. They will be able to hone their skills in a best possible way. We were always going to these places and then getting people from there. And while we were getting itself, we would tell them that this is the kind of the product that you're going to be associated with, and this is the kind of the learning that you're going to be seeing, and these are the sensitivities that are associated in building some of these silicon. Why this mistake is so costly, right? That is taught from day one of their onboarding. When you create this culture of first time working silicon, they would never fear to accept the mistake. And then never sign off things if it is not meeting the required criteria. I would be sitting in all the checklist sign off process. I know that I would get burnt out, but it is required, Shankar. That's how we have been building that culture, making them take pride in what they do.
Chitra, you mentioned that you went from electronic design automation into construction and what is it called? Building automation. Can you show me what it's like? Is it the same thing? Is it all online or is it something more concrete than that?
Shankar, I spoke about building the smart automation solutions. The picture that I'm showing is one of the parking automation solutions that we did. This is one of the state of art and novel, all the features that you can think of. But I need to be part of really the construction community, wearing all the gadgets required to enter into the parking lot, to put all the sensors and still ensure that my automation solution is working perfectly and delivering all the results that are expected of. So this was an interesting journey. It was a very tiring journey also. I needed to interact with the electricians, with all the construction laborers and partners. There were a lot of interesting stories that I can go on and on. The most important part of it is, Shankar, you want your sensor to be put at the right place to get the best coverage to ensure that the sensor works perfectly. And then you will be able to get the entire solutions working perfectly. My construction partner would say that these are the when you can install the sensors. And while I am installing the sensors, my sensors are all ultrasound sensors. They are sensitive to dust and everything, but I'm putting it in the construction area. How I need to educate the electrician and I need to educate the construction workers to say that when you are operating near the sensors, please be sensitive and ensure that my sensor still works. Translating my requirements to make them understand and do their job and my job, and then get the solutions successfully even today. I mean, there were a lot of laws that I needed to go through while working with the blue collar workers, with all due respects to them. I understood their pains as well, working amidst all the challenges.
Now that you're working with the investment community, what is that journey like? How has that been going?
Shankar, now I am with Matrix Partners Seed Community Group. I'm playing the technology advisory role for all the seed investments that Matrix Partners and such other investment community is making. Over here, I get the compelling startups. They have a path-breaking technology. So those are the startups that I guide and onboard with the seed investment community and navigate them through the process of getting funded. This again is a very interesting journey for me because I've not seen this part of the world. The most interesting thing that I'm finding over here is I'm sitting at the right time of making the right investments in India. This will be very heartening to see some of these deep technology startups getting funded by investment people like Matrix Partners and other investment community steering towards seeing Semicon and VLSI as the compelling investment opportunity.
You've seen some of the most exciting moments in the semiconductor industry, not only in India, but also in the US. Now that we are getting into newer technologies, we still see that TSMC, Taiwan, Korea, Samsung are the leaders. Where do you think the Indian VLSI industry, including design, test, manufacturing, packaging, where do you think are the likely successes to be given that there is literally competition from around the world?
Shankar, currently we are making huge investments into ATMP, right? I mean, assembly test manufacturing and then package. This is a great move. Over here, you will be able to see the success and then steer the ecosystem, bring them together, and then take to the next level of building the fab. That is one thing that I'm already seeing, and this is the great move. This will foster more ecosystem build, Shankar. The other one would be on the GaN and silicon carbide. These are the compound semiconductor fabs. There is already a policy which is very, very friendly to ensuring more investments, more partners can come and put their fabs around these technologies. These are the technologies that would not require the investments that the silicon fab would be needing. These are the technologies that I feel are required for India. They would help us build the silicon fab, is what I would say. So we would start tasting successes in building these compound semiconductor fabs, and then that would lead to building the silicon fab, Shankar. That would be my perspective. Compound semiconductors, why I am telling is both the need for building things around GaN and silicon carbide, given the surge that we are seeing in the EV industry, is the most required thing. It's a step in the right direction that India is doing. And then this is going to increase the EV industry surge, which is already increasing. And then things will start lining up.
You've been really either fortunate or smart in picking the right companies, all of which were successful, from open silicon, concept to silicon, real chip, and all that. But we know that startups are not a bed of roses. There are always challenges, there are always failures, or micro failures, mini failures along the way. What kind of temperament did it take to go through all these ups and downs, and what were the lessons learned? You already alluded to some. How did you build that culture of success or resilience to be able to succeed through all these ups and downs?
Very early, I could kind of find myself that I'm a startup person. You get to see the spectrum, you get to see the end to end, be it a product life cycle or be it a customer life cycle or be it the success, you get to see it end to end. So the moment I started finding myself, though I was part of Intel Microelectronics, Intel Microelectronics was funded by Intel's new business initiative. And this was run completely as a startup. We were responsible for our P&L. So that excited me over there for continuing at Intel Microelectronics. And from Intel, when we made the transition to open silicon, I picked it up with both my arms. The reason being that's again the startup and then the leaders with whom I will have great learning. I landed up in open silicon and then concept silicon. Of course, there were a lot of learnings and our own set of challenges. When we did Intel Microelectronics to open silicon transition, it was a very smooth transition. We were funded by Sequoia Capital and Norwest Venture Partners, and Intel was not in pursuing the Intel Microelectronics business. So we went with the customers being there for us. We had the investments, we had the customers, and then we needed to execute on the designs, Shankar. But still, we had our own challenges of building first time in India, building things grounds up. There were tons of night outs that you need to do. The team is new, picking up. And then you always have this vision of building a grand thing with discipline and first time working silicon in mind. Everything is tough thing that need to come together. There are a lot of challenges, but at least the starting ingredients were in place, which was not the case with concept silicon. But we were thinking that, I mean, we would land upon a good VC and we would be funded. So the first failure that we could experience was not landing upon funding, Shankar. So what still motivated you? Your conviction that this model will succeed and that you will be able to land on good customer and then you will be successful in building the team. That conviction helped us build concept silicon and the right set of people. I already told you, I strongly believed in this complementary skill part. So when we came together, when Ravi, Satya, myself came together, we knew that each of us are bringing a different kind of, though we were all engineering centric people, we were looking at the problem from three different perspectives. One would be looking from a pure business perspective, one from people and then the engineering perspective, other from a different visionary perspective. How I need to scale this, how I need to be making this model succeed. So we were consciously practicing those complementary skills too. And then on the conviction based model to build a company like Concept to Silicon. Of course, there were tons of tiring moments. The things that would still excited us were the successes of the products that we were partnering with. The first time working silicons and then tape outs will always make you have this burnout feel. The moment the silicon bring up news comes, you forget all the night outs, and then you get energized, and then you go to, oh, what is my next project and where am I going? What am I going to be signing up? That kept us going. And then the the moment you get to know the customer's success also, because there were tons of times wherein customer would come and then share the success with you, like the pixel volume, Shankar, because you were part of that product. And then, I mean, how
Yes.
much it is selling, that's the thing that kept you going. And how do you build the resilience on the tougher days? You are for each other, all the three business partners whom I spoke about. And then, of course, our family, my family has been the ultra supportive thing all through my startup journey. I can run after products, I can run after startups, but family needs to be supporting, right? I had an excellent support from my family. I mean, be it from my husband, my father in law, they were the pillars behind my success. My son, who was literally growing up hearing the tape out jargons. Did I do the timing closure properly? Did you look at the tape out checklist? Those were the things that he would be hearing all the time. And he would say he would not want to be part of this chip and tape out, but finally he is there today. He signed up on doing high performance computing with Barcelona Supercomputing Center. He joined Intel as well, and then he was part of the Intel's group, and then now with NVIDIA, the most talked about company working on some of this cool AI technologies. The support that they provided help you going. They were always there for you. I will kind of sit and then think, should I be continuing this? And then they would pat at the back and then, no, things will happen. Get up, start walking, start running. You'll be able to achieve. You're with good set of people. And another good thing was my husband is not an engineer. He's not from this field at all. He's a dairy general manager. So he would provide me a different kind of perspective, and he would say that, Chitra, you can run, things will happen. And my father-in-law would always bring his other perspective of all the good things to get you build the resilience.
That's amazing. It takes a whole family to build
And it's not
systems.
one, Shankar, it is multiple. You can,
Yes.
when you go for the third startup or the fourth startup, while we were building the IoT product startup, I was extremely tired. Okay, you did this, all the three startups. Okay, touch wood, you could make all the three startups successful. Fourth startup, and that too, this is product. Will you be able to do? That was the question we had. Again, the passion for the product and the passion for the solutions that we can create for India and globally, you will be able to create an impact. Though it's still a successful startup, we could get to the point of white labeling the product. Honeywell came and then they white labeled the product. We could install the parking solution at Intel. Still, it is working. Everything was good, but we could not scale it up the way we wanted. Obviously, the reasons were the product demography, the challenges that we see around building the electronic product in this ecosystem. So those were the things that help you going, and then that help you learn and then make the rest of the startups now I am part of to do better. One thing I'll tell Shankar, this is the time for anyone who want to build a startup to be in India and build the startup. Be it on the incentives in place for you to build either a semiconductor startup or a deep tech startup or the electronic product startup. This is the time.
That's amazing. Since you're talking about this is the time and we need jobs and we need trained people, what would it take? Let's say somebody straight out of college or in mid career. What would it take for them if they've never done a startup before, never done a business before? What are the things that they need to do to be successful in silicon in this market? I think software, India has mastered it, much less risk. Chances of success are always doubtful in any startup. But silicon, the investments are much larger. So what does it take to be successful today?
I would still say that silicon startups at this point, if anybody wanting to be taking a plunge, that's not going to be coming from the people who are coming out of the college. The experienced people are the ones who would be able to make it as far as the silicon and then the semicon startup. There is a lot required. But if it is still a cool idea and a medium experience kind of the person also, be it on some of the IPs that can create a differentiation, or some of the solutions that could still be part of creating the differentiation for the entire product. Very honestly, for the silicon and then the semicon and the deep tech, this calls for experienced people. For them, your conviction towards the product idea is the one, or the IP idea is the one that would take you to success. You need to have a lot of patience, you need to have a lot of resilience. Opportunities are plenty. Ecosystem is so friendly now to help you grow and thrive. This I keep seeing. I want to do this product, but I will have to still be in this business of doing services, and then I will fund my product. You cannot be in both places. You will have to be at one place. If you want to be doing services, yes, there is humongous skill that is required. You can continue to do that. You want to be doing the product, build conviction towards the product, get all the differentiations into the product, you would be able to succeed. Right now, the lineup is so small on the product startups or on the semicon technology startups. There are only handful who are mention worthy. We need to create more of those things. But the problems are plenty. And the ecosystem over here is wanting to support it. We need more entrepreneurs to get into the game.
When I look at your journey, you started off with IP, silicon IP, you worked in fabless semiconductor, you worked in concept to silicon, you've actually worked on IoT. What keeps
Yep.
you going? I see that you're always working late at night, early in the morning, even today. What is it that energizes you day in and day out at this stage in your career?
Passion for the product, again, I would say I always want to be building product and then attaching myself towards that product build, right? That is what it is. Tomorrow, if some other new product is coming, I want to have my small footprint left there. That's what it is. That's the one that is keeping me going, Shankar. Be it on standards, be it on anything that you do on the product side. That is one. And then the other one is, as far as India goes, this is the time. So this time I don't want to be calling myself in the relaxed mode or the retirement mode and then wanting to be enjoying that part of life. I want to be at the place where the action is, and I want to be the person who can catalyze us, that who can create that bond. What we're doing is because we know that there is a skill requirement. That is it now. What you can do to kind of get this semicon skills, be it on the design skills, be it on the manufacturing skills. How will you be able to develop these skills? Over here, I'm part of VLSI Society of India, Shankar. So this body is a 40-year-old body. This has been formed by legends like Professor Vishwani Agarwal. There are multiple legends who have been behind making this VLSI Society of India. Society of India has always been focusing on two major marquee events that would bring the entire community together. VLSI Design Conference, which we always have been looking forward for this January start of conference. Starting from my early days of career, I would wanting to be presenting a paper in this conference. And then if that paper gets accepted, the kind of the joy that you derive out of this is literally no bounds. You would take pride in saying that, oh, my paper in VLSI Design Conference. Like that is the kind of the stature that the conference has built over the years, Shankar, in building the entire VLSI community together, be it on startup, academia, industry, and government bodies, everyone together, Shankar. So there is a sister conference, that is VLSI Design and Test Conference. That also is being done by VLSI Society of India. These were the two primary activities that were being run, because this is a 40-year-old activity that has been happening year after year. Now, seeing the need for the skill around semiconductor and VLSI, what we have done is, Shankar, we have established regional chapters for this VLSI Society of India. So what we are doing is, some of these regional chapters we have inaugurated now. Now 4 got inaugurated already in a row. One in Gujarat, one in Madhya Pradesh, one in the Himalaya region, and the other one in Odisha. All these places, these regional chapters, the VLSI Society of India is a neutral. So this onboards all the academia and the industry partners in this platform. And then this regional chapters conduct a lot of local events to spur the local semicon VLSI awareness and activity. We create a reach out to ensure that some of these programs and then electronic and VLSI being a curriculum, how this could be adapted in some of the colleges. I'm sure you might be aware, electronics and VLSI is the curriculum that has been blessed by All India Council of Technical Education. This could be given as a major, as a course to some of the colleges, like how we had electronics and communication. Prior to that, it was only electrical and electronics. When communication was taking a boom, we started a need, and then electronics and communication started becoming as a course, right? Like that, electronics and VLSI need to become as a course. And then there are multiple colleges that have already come forward to adapt this as a course. And AICT has already defined the curriculum. And we were the ones from VLSI Society of India partnered with AICT also, provided our industry driven inputs to better the curriculum. Once multiple colleges adapt these things, we will be able to generate the required talent pool. Currently, the prediction is anywhere between 75,000 to 125,000 VLSI skilled engineers are required. This is just for the design community. For the manufacturing community, at least 5,000 to 10,000 would be required. And that again, we are driving through different set of, because the skills are different set of actions and things that we are doing. I'm actually the secretary of the VLSI Society of India. We keep running multiple events and then create awareness. Colleges reach out to us, we sign MOUs with them, and then steer the curriculum in the right direction. And if there are any of the industry specific requirements that colleges need to be working on, we steer them, we provide them the pointers. And then some of the compelling research topics. Research is again one of the most important thing, like how many PhDs that we generate, and are they working on problem statements that are required for the industry? We are providing guidance towards that. There are lots that VLSI Society of India is doing. I'm honored and privileged to be one key person driving some of these activities.
Such exciting times. I would like to run and be a part of this. I did a little bit of work with the government of Gujarat in the education sector, trying to figure out how they can meet the demands of all these companies like Micron entering Gujarat. So it's really
Yes.
amazing. Chitra, it's a wonderful story, and it's so exciting to hear about all the things that are happening in India as well as in the whole world. And to everybody listening out there, yes, silicon is a different game, but we are in the siliconomy. It's not just the economy, a big chunk of it is now
Yeah.
propelled by silicon and the chips that are powering all of AI and machine learning and generative skills that we see around us. So please come forward, tell us your stories. I want to hear what's happening. I want to hear all the sleepless nights and why we are doing that in the greater good. So Chitra, thanks again, and tell us more of your story, maybe a couple years from now when we start seeing the successes of some of the investments that are being done today.
Sure, Shankar. Thank you so much. It was pleasure talking to you, Shankar, and really sharing this journey.